Hello and welcome, it's Chris from Christopher Holt Training, and welcome to this week's tutorial where we're going to be looking at the exercise guidelines for scoliosis. So we're not going to be looking at specific exercises, but we're going to be looking at when you need to be doing it, how much you need to be doing it, how long your sessions need to be. We're going to be talking about all of that kind of thing. But most importantly, we're going to take let's just say the mindset that you need to be using within that exercise, because it's not traditional fitness exercise. With traditional fitness exercise, what people tend to do is they tend to go into the gym and they try to fatigue themselves, work hard, so on and so forth. This type of exercise is slightly different because what we're learning is control, and we're learning about your posture and posture in general. So we're taking a slightly different mindset. We're not trying to work the muscles to complete fatigue. We're just trying to work them so we can start to learn essentially better posture. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be taking this from a paper that I found, which is all from the Journal of Scoliosis. I'll explain more about that once we get into the journal. One thing I must say, if you see me looking in this direction, that's because I've got some notes and specific information that I want to get across, and it's just on my screen just there. So if you see me looking over that way, that's all I'm looking at. It's just the notes that are on the screen from that paper. As I mentioned, all the information in here is from my experience, my day-to-day working with people in the gym. So I'm going to be drawing on that experience, but also I'm going to be taking it from a paper from the Journal of Scoliosis. If you want to look it up, it's called The Scientific Exercise Approach to Scoliosis, a modern and effective evidence-based approach to physiotherapeutic specific scoliosis exercises. So if you want to go look it up, that's what you need to pop into Google and you'll be able to find it. You can get it on PDF, so you can download it if you want it. Otherwise, you can just read through it and it'll give you the more specific information that we're going to talk about during this tutorial. Now, as I mentioned, this isn't traditional fitness exercises. We're not looking to fatigue the muscles. So we're going to be talking more about therapeutic exercise. Now, with regards to therapeutic exercise, yes, I'm talking about it with regards to scoliosis, but this on a sort of a wider, broader topic, this is the type of mindset that I bring to a lot of people that I work with back pain, with knee injuries, whatever it might be. So as I'm rehabilitating them, this is the type of approach that I'm bringing to it. And it's sort of quite nicely capsulated in this paper as well. So I'm going to be using some of their terms, but essentially the method that I use with people is very, very similar to what I use with people in a general rehabilitation sense in the gym. So as I mentioned, it's not traditional fitness exercises. It's therapeutic exercises. I tend to call it rehabilitation because I'm working with people with injuries, back pain, trigger point therapy, knee problems, shoulder problems, neck problems, whatever it might be. It's those type of things that I'm using it with. So what are they talking about first? Well, how we come to the exercise is, first of all, it's about control. And they say we start relaxed. We then improve the symmetry, so we start the exercise relaxed. We then aim during that exercise to improve the symmetry and align the spine. We challenge the posture, so we use exercises, we use movements that challenge the posture. So in a sense, we want the exercises in some ways to try and pull us into a worse posture. So then what our job is to then improve that posture and work against that challenge. And then what we do is just return back to the start position or the start posture and just relax back into that and just try not to overdo the exercise. So that's sort of point number one, is control. The next one is repetition. We use repetition. Now, repetition comes from traditional fitness exercise or bodybuilding or whatever you want to call it. But we're not using it to fatigue the muscle, as I've mentioned. What we're using it for is a learning process. So we're trying to learn new postures, new positions, new movements, or in a sense, improve the movement that we already have. So that's what we're trying to use repetition for. So it's more of a, let's just say, a neuromuscular, training our brain to to communicate with the muscles to hold our spine in a more stable, stronger position, and for scoliosis, a more aligned position. Third one, individuality. We need to adapt the program. Yes, there are general guidelines that we need to follow, that we're going to follow for most of the population. That's a given in any program. There are going to be those principles, and what we need to be able to do is adapt it throughout all of the individual needs. So any of my sort of face-to-face programming and any of my online programming merges those two together. So they have that general principle that we're following, but also we're able to adapt and just mold the exercises based on the feedback that I'm given, essentially. So I'll be asking questions of the person. How's that feeling? How's that working for you? So I'm asking those types of questions, and based on their feedback that I get, then I'm then able to say, right, I think we need to adapt here, and I think we need to change the exercise in this way. So we're using it and sort of navigating our way through based on the feedback. If we just give you a program and say, go and do these exercises, then you might think, well, this doesn't seem to be working. I'm not sure about this exercise. But if you start that, if you find that information, feed that back and say, well, I think I need to be in this position. Well, okay, we need to change it in this way or that way. And we can do that. So we need to move through the program in that sense. We need to adapt it because the exercises are only going to go so far. If we can adapt it, make it more specific and make it more individual, then it's going to be a lot better for you. Finally, progression. Now, in traditional fitness exercise, bodybuilding type programs, there is an element of progression. We need there to be an element of progression, and it's the same here. The only difference being we aren't pushing sort of into fatigue so we can expand the body's resistance to that fatigue. What we're looking to do is we're just looking for it to be challenging. We want to challenge the posture. We do want to challenge the muscles. We want to challenge their flexibility and their tightness. But then we want to come back out and just let the body calm down, because as we repeat it, our body will start to neuroplastically change, and then that will change how it communicates with the muscle, and then that eventually will communicate, or that will eventually change and adapt the posture that you have. It takes time. Your muscles and your brain has to learn this. So it's not going to be just one exercise and then it's done. It's going to be many exercises over a period of time that is going to help mold and change. And in some sense, you're not really going to see the changes happen on a day-to-day basis. Eventually, you'll just be doing something and you'll think, oh, that's changed. My shoulders have become a little bit more level, or I feel more upright, or I've gained an inch in height, or whatever it might be. It won't be something that you necessarily think, oh yeah, there it is. I've corrected that now. It will just kind of happen naturally over time. Now we're going to talk more about the guidelines themselves. So when should you be doing it? How much should you be doing it? What intensity should you be working at? Now, with regards to these guidelines, these are the guidelines that I use in my online training and face-to-face training programs. This is what I advise people to do, and it's in this paper. So if you go to this paper, you'll see this information. If you go to my online training programs, you'll find them set up in this way. If you come to see me on a face-to-face scenario, then again, this is the type of thing that I'll be recommending. So frequency. So this is how many times a week should you be doing it? Well, you can do it 3 times a week, but you would have, say, 45-minute sessions, or you can do 5 to 7 times a week, but you'll be working on a much shorter duration. So it might be, say, 20 to 25 minutes. Intensity, moderate to low. We're not looking for sort of high intense workouts. We're not looking to be beading with sweat. We're very much looking for, as I mentioned before, that control, the repetition, the learning. So we're trying to learn that posture. We're not looking for fatigue. It's all about improving posture. We're looking to challenge that posture and be able to improve the movement that we have in everyday life. So that's the kind of thing that we want to take from it. So we won't necessarily be coming away from that program thinking, wow, that was a great workout. I'm really feeling like I've worked hard in that session. You might have a bit of mental fatigue because you've worked hard mentally, but physically it may not feel that way. It can do, but it may not. I've mentioned sort of the times of sessions. So if you're doing 3 times a week, it's sort of that 45-minute session. If you're doing 5 to 7, it's sort of 20 to 25 minutes. And then finally, the types of exercise. So again, this is a sort of a broad term. It's not the specific exercises themselves. But what we're looking for is we're looking for spine stability. So we're looking for exercises that can improve spine stability. And I'll talk about more about those exercises in future tutorials. And we're looking to improve everyday movement. So if you go on to any of my online training programs, there's 2 workshops. There's core skills, and there is fundamental movements. Now that is basically the basis of the method that I use. So I use 5 core skills that we can transfer into any exercise to keep our spine stable, to keep our core strong, and so we're able to protect the spine and reduce any pain that it may experience. And then the fundamental movements, we've got 8 fundamental movements: lifting, carrying, pushing, pulling, rotating, walking, running. We've got all of those fundamental movements laid out so we can sort of take those and give you the understanding and the knowledge to be able to, again, transfer those skills in a gym setting or in a workout setting, but then transfer that out into everyday life. So again, it's not about sort of that fitness element. It's about learning those skills and then transferring those skills. So not only are we protecting our spine for the 45 minutes or the 20 minutes that we're doing exercise, but we're also doing it in the wider 23 hours that we're at home and at work and out and about doing everyday things that we do. So those are the guidelines. Those are the sort of the mindset sort of triggers that you want to be going for within the program. So we're looking for control, learning, repetition, challenge, not fatigue. Then when it comes to the sort of the more specific guidelines about the programming, we're looking for anywhere from 3 to 7 times a week. If it's 3 times a week, it's sort of a 45-minute program. 5 to 7 times a week, we're looking at 20 to 25 minutes. With regards to intensity, low to moderate, and the type of exercises, spine stabilizing exercises, which I'll talk about more, and learning how to improve movement and transferring that out into everyday life, again, which I'll talk about more in future tutorials. So hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully it's given you a better idea of what you need to take to a exercise for scoliosis session. Please do click the links below. Please do comment below. It'd be great to hear any feedback that you do have. My name is Chris from Christopher Holt Training. I will speak to you in a future video.